Shabbat Shalom, welcome. Can I help you or?
No, that's okay.
Okay. I'm a member here, so.
Yeah, were there services this morning?
We do at 9:30.
No, before this, anything before?
Yeah.
No.
And actually, the rabbi's right behind you. I'm Rebecca.
Hi, my name's Archie. I used to belong to Beth Emet. I want to see what it was like.
And what's your last name?
Linderman.
Okay, I remember you. I'm Rebecca Weisbeck.
Oh, Rebecca. Oh,
Where's Sharon?
oh, sweet.
Where's Sharon?
Sharon's at home. Hi.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
it's so good to see you.
Tell her
Renee.
hello for me.
I will.
My dad had a stroke, so I'm.
Oh, we did? When?
July 24th.
Oh, wow.
So
No people.
I'm here, yeah. There's service. Rabbi,
People think it's Jewish.
there is a Torah study. When is the next Torah study? Next month, right?
Yeah, first,
The first Shabbat.
right,
He's a friend of our family.
that's great.
Yeah, I
Yes.
didn't even recognize it at first, but I knew she looked familiar.
I'm Rebecca, one of the Weisbecks. That, yeah. This is Rabbi Mendelson.
Hi, Rabbi.
We have different rabbis now.
Yeah, we rotate through, after Rabbi Berman, we felt that the best way to do it was to.
You know, I was coming here when Rabbi Brooks was here.
Oh, he
That's
he
a
passed
while
away.
back.
Yeah, I know.
And then his son is our
His son
cantor.
is your cantor.
I have to show you something when you get a
Jonah,
chance.
what's his first name?
Zeb.
Zeb, that's right. Is he still here?
Yes, he will be here pretty soon, actually. Oh, okay. I don't know who's doing it. Honey, are you doing it?
What?
Want to hear it? If
I
Zeb's
wasn't
not
planning to, we'll see.
If Zeb's not here, I'll do it. That's
What do you
okay.
want to show me?
I got it. But Art, tell Sharon hello for me.
Okay, I'll look. What did she do you were here? Your mom is,
Maxine.
yeah,
She's in Arizona.
she's in Arizona.
Yeah.
Did she get married again?
She did.
She did.
That's great. And I knew Veronica before she relocated to Oklahoma. I know her in Westminster.
This is my uncle's telling this one.
Oh, maybe. Oh, maybe.
There's no real comment.
Iran, Iran,
Yes.
nobody cheat,
Nobody says.
no cheat,
Oh, no tzitzit?
no,
Oh, not talit? For the women.
Yes,
I understand.
yes.
Yes, I like that.
Hi, welcome.
I did my friend left.
I'm Rebecca Weisbeck. I heard that a long time ago.
So tell me about.
When you
Shaman.
walk in, bring that, are you Jewish?
No, no.
Okay. And you need to,
Yeah, I didn't know there was.
are you gonna
service
stay?
going on.
Are you
No,
staying?
I'm not gonna stay. Maybe
So
that's
he
it.
had a stroke, Melissa's birthday.
Okay, where's he?
He's home. He's at business.
Okay.
I grew up with Ben a long time ago.
I see.
Yes,
Yeah.
tell Sharon hello for me.
I will.
I'll be here next Shabbat.
Okay, I'll bring- I'll
It
bring
starts
it.
at 9:30.
I didn't know how long the rental was for, so I didn't know you guys were still here.
They brought us out the church.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so she told me out there, there's no limit, as long as there's a viable,
A minion.
group.
It's called a minion,
Do
yeah.
you know Charlene?
Yes.
That's his friend.
I know.
Yeah, Charlene and Howard are
Okay.
very good friends.
When does he keep coming in? It's weird.
Videotape.
Okay. Is Brooks is near you?
He'll be here.
Oh, could we-
He's probably inside.
Okay, I'll see you next week.
go ahead and start. I'll ask you, are you, muted? Okay.
I don't need a ride home, I'm going with Sandy.
Okay.
He's gonna go see my parents.
Good. Art?
No, Zach.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll begin in just a moment. What?
You took a chair out.
Yeah.
Is that how meetings work here?
Shabbat Shalom, good morning. We'll begin our Pezukei de Zimra with Birchot HaShachar on page 65. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sech v'bina l'avchin ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, zokev gefufim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Roch haaretz alamayim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shas ali kol tzarki. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechi mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, osei Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, otei Yisrael b'tivara. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ayiv koach. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam, havish. Ugneinu hayom v'choyam, l'cheinu l'ches l'rachamim, beinecho v'einecho reino tigmalim, tigmalenu chasadim tovim, baruch atah Adonai, v'melech chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. We will continue our preliminary service on page 72 with Psalm 92, a psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shili yom ha-Shabbat tov lehodol l'Adonai u'lizamer l'shimcha elyon u'lizamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shili yom ha-Shabbat tov lehodol l'Adonai u'lizamer l'shimcha elyon u'lizamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chazecha v'emunatcha b'leilot. Halei Azor v'halei Navel, halei Higayon b'chinor, Mizmor shili yom ha-Shabbat tov lehodol l'Adonai, lizamer l'shimcha elyon, u'lizamer l'shimcha elyon. Odinu zuvun meseva, shinim v'adanim yihiu, lagid ge'ash Adonai, tzarivelo lavlatavo. Now we'll continue on page 81. Let's read responsively a psalm of David, a song for the dedication of the temple. I extol you, Adonai, you raised me up. You did not permit foes to rejoice over me.
Adonai cried out, and you healed me. Save me from the pit of death.
Sing to Adonai, you faithful. Acclaim God's holiness.
God's anger lasts a moment. Divine love is lifelong. Tears may linger for a night. Joy comes with the dawn.
While at ease I once thought, nothing can shake my security. Favor me, and I am a mountain of strength. Hide your face, Adonai, and I am terrified.
To you, Adonai, will I call. Before
What profit is there if I am silenced? What benefit if I go to my grave? Will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your faithfulness?
Hear me, Adonai, be gracious, be my help.
You transformed my mourning into dancing, my sackcloth into robes of joy, that I might sing your praise unceasingly, that I might thank you, Adonai my God, forever. And now we continue our Bezukei Zimra with Baruch She'amar. I invite you to rise. Page 83. Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam Baruch Baruch Hoseh v'reshit Baruch Omer v'yoseh Baruch Hoseh u'mekayem Baruch merachim al haaretz Baruch merachim al habriyot Baruch mishalim tzargadov l'reyal Baruch Elad v'kayam lanetzach Baruch hodel u'matzil Baruch Shemo Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ha'el ha'avarach haman Hamulal b'fi amo V'shubach mefoar b'lshon chazidav v'yavadav V'shirei David avdecha n'halelecha Adonai Eloheinu B'shbachot v'zmirot Negadelecha nishabechacha n'vayecha V'nazgir shimcha V'namlichacha malkinu Eloheinu Yachid che'olamim Melech b'shubach mefoar adei ad shemo hagadol Baruch atah Adonai Melech me'olam v'tishbachot. We'll continue on page 85 at the bottom. Let's sing together, Romamu. Romamu, Romamu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'yishtachavu, V'yishtachavu, L'Adam Raglav Kadoshu, Romamu, Romamu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'yishtachavu, V'yishtachavu, Le'har Godso, Ki Kadosh, Adonai Eloheinu, Yadalai. Hey! Let us continue now on page 86. Let's join it together in the middle of the page, and we'll sing Hoshia et Amecha together. Hoshia et Amecha, Uvarech et Nagaladecha, Murim, 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 Benasim, Murim, Benasim ad ha'olam. Hoshia et Amecha, Uvarech et Nagaladecha, Murim, 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 Benasim, Murim, Benasim ad ha'olam. Now let's continue on page 88 with Psalm 34. This beautiful acrostic psalm. I'd like to take us to particular letters that have melodies to verses that we find in other places and that we're familiar with. We start with the Gimel. Galu lalonahayiti l'nirome mashim hoyachdav. Now we drop down to the Yud. Kiryu et Adonai ki doshav ki ein machzor lireyav kefirim rashu v'raivel v'dorshei Adonai olachu chodov. Let me drop a couple letters down to the Mem. This isn't necessarily a prayer, but it's this melody was written to this, made famous in Israel several decades ago. Also, it refers to, liturgically, Miha Isha Chafetz Chaim. Let's see, who is the, which of you desires life? Chafetz Chaim, those two words were taken by a very famous Jewish rabbi and authority who lived in the late 19th century, early 20th century in Europe. He was basically one of the most famous living Jews at the time. And his name was Chafetz Chaim because he wrote a book. His initial book was about the laws of speech, the laws of slander, and how important it is that we watch what we say to promote harmony and peace amongst ourselves. So let's sing this on page 88 with the Mem. Mi ha'ish ha'chafetz chaim ohev yamim ohev yamim Nitzor leshoncha meira, ushvatecha medaber mehema, sor meira ve'azedom, vaki shalom ve'radfehu, mi ha'ish ha'chavetz chaim, ohev yamim, ohev yamim liroto. And now we're going to turn to page 92. I'll invite you to rise. This morning we're going to do the very first line, and then we're going to drop down to the Molich Amo Bamidbar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stanzas down, and then we'll take it to the end. So we do the first line and then drop down, and that will put us in pairs of 4, so the melody will match. Hodu ladonai ki tov ki le'olam chazdo le'molich ha'amo bamidbar ki le'olam chazdo melachim melachim gidolim ki le'olam chazdo v'yaharag melachim adirim ki le'olam chazdo Lesichon melech ha'emorim ki le'olam chazdo Ulog melech ha'bashan ki le'olam chazdo V'nadachan ha'artam le'nachala ki le'olam chazdo Nachala le'Yisrael ha'avdo ki le'olam chazdo Shebeshifleinu zachar lanu ki le'olam chazdo Vayifrekeinu mitzareinu ki le'olam chazdo Nadei lechem lecha bazar ki le'olam chazdo Adolel hashamayim ki le'olam chazdo. May be seated. Let's turn to page 94. Again, we visit the song for Shabbat, Psalm 92. This time we're going to sing from the last 6 slides on the page. Tzadik adamar yivra ki eretz ha'levanon yizgeh shetulim b'veit Adonai v'chazron Eloheinu yavrichu ha'dinuvel v'seiva dishenim v'rananim him lehagid ki yashar Adonai Turi velo avladavo. Please join me on page 95. For Psalm 93, we'll read together in the Hebrew. Adonai malach geyut lavesh Adonai ozit azar, avtikon tevel bal timod, nachon kisacha me'az, me'olam ata, nasun harot Adonai, nasun harot kolam, yisun harot dochyam, mi kolot mayim rabim, adirim mishpereyam, adir bamarom Adonai, edotechan emnul me'od, levetechan na'ava kodesh, Adonai orech. Edotechan emnul me'od, levetechan na'ava kodesh, Adonai leorech yamim. This morning, why don't we do something a little different? Let's read on page 95, the bottom paragraph together in the Hebrew, which introduces the Ashrei, and then we'll do the Ashrei responsively on 96. These are verses from Psalms, Proverbs, Exodus, and Chronicles. Together. God's glory endures forever. May God rejoice in his creatures. May Adonai be praised now and forever. Praise be God from east to west. Adonai is exalted beyond all nations. God's glory extends beyond the heavens. Your glory, Adonai, endures forever. Your fame throughout all generations. Adonai established his throne in heaven. God's sovereignty encompasses all. The heavens rejoice and the earth is glad. The nations declare Adonai is sovereign. Adonai reigns, Adonai has reigned, Adonai shall reign throughout all time. Adonai shall reign forever and ever. Many people shall vanish from God's land. Adonai thwarts the designs of such nations, foiling the plans of such peoples. Many plans rise in human hearts, but Adonai's designs are fulfilled. For when God spoke, it came to be. God issued a command, and the world took form. God has chosen Zion, desiring it for his dwelling place. God has chosen Jacob for his own, the people Israel as his treasure. Adonai will not abandon his people. God will not forsake his heritage. God, being merciful, grants atonement for sin and does not destroy. Time and again, God restrains wrath, refusing to let rage be all-consuming. Save us, Adonai. Answer us, sovereign, when we call. Ashrei, page 96. Ashrei Yoshvei V'Techa, Odi Hallelujah Selah. Tila LeDavid, Arami Macha Elohai HaMelech, V'Avarcha Shemcha Le'olam V'Haed. Radol Adonai Melhu Lamiyod Ve'Ligdol Lato Ein Cheker. Adonai Givod Onecha V'Divrei Nivlodecha Sicha. Sichir Avdu V'Chai Habihu V'Tzid Gadecha Yiraneinu. Tidov Adonai L'Hagol V'Racham Aval Kol Ma'asav. Kivod Malachudecha Yomehiru Gevuradecha Yidabehiru. Malachudecha Malachut Kalavim Mehevdadecha Bechol Dorvador. Heinei Cholecha Yisaviru Batanotin Lahem Edachlam Bito. Tzadik Adonai B'chol Dirachav V'chazid B'chol Ma'asav. Ritzon Yireya V'yahaseh V'yezavat HaMishma V'yoshim. Tilad Adonai Yedaber V'Vivarech Abazar Shem Kotzor Le'olam Va'ed V'anachnu Nevarech Ya Me'ad Aviyad Olam. Hallelujah. Let's drop down to the bottom line of page 97. Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elohai Zion Lidar Vadar. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Now we go to page 99, Psalm 148. We join together 5 lines from the bottom. Yeah. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki Nizgav Shemo Levado, Odo Aleret V'Shamayim, Vayarem Geret Liamo, Tila Lecho Chazidav, Livnei Yisrael, Am Kirova. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Now we join with the last of the Psalms, Psalm 150. I like to sing it like this. Kol neshama hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol neshama hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama de hallelujah. 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 Betega shovar. Hallelujah. Benever bechinar. Hallelujah. Betov. Betov machol. Hallelujah. Bemiri vilgav. Kol haneshama de hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama de hallelujah. 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 Betel telejama. Hallelujah. Betel teledrua. Kol haneshama de hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama de hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama de hallelujah. Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen V'Yamin. Baruch Adonai Mitzion. Shochin Yerushalayim. Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael. Hoseni Levado. Baruch Shem Kavodo Le'olam. V'Malech Kavodo Ad Kol Haaretz. Amen V'Yamin. I invite you to rise, page 101. Vayivarech David Adonai Le'nei Kol HaKahav Ve'omer David Baruch Atah Adonai Yisrael. Avinu Lam Ve'ad Olam. L'cha Adonai HaGidul HaGivur HaDiveret Ve'anei Zav Ve'od Ki Chol B'Shamayim U'Ba'aretz Ki Chol B'Shamayim U'Ba'aretz L'cha Adonai HaMamlacha V'Hamidaseh Shel-Kol Levod
Later.
Atahu Adonai Elohim, Asher bacharta be'Avraham, v'hotzeta me'ar kasdim, v'samta shmo Avraham, v'tzata levavon ema lefanecha.
V'kirot imon habrinei de'eretz.
Vayam bakar livnehem, v'yavlu b'dochem be'avashah, v'rudfem yishlachtem in salot, k'mo even, v'mayim azim. Page 102. Vayosh Adonai, Vayomahu, et Yisrael miyad Mitzrayim, Vayar Yisrael et Mitzrayim, made al Zavat hayam, Vayar Yisrael et hayam adolah, Asher asa Adonai b'Mitzrayim, Vayiruah et Adonai, Vayaminu Adonai, u'leMoshe Abdo. Az Yashir Moshe L'bnei Yisrael Et Azoham Adonai Vayamru Lemor Ashir Adonai Ki Ga'ol Zut Ver'alimo Rahama Vayam V'Vazi V'Zimradia Adonai Shmelchama, Adonai Shemo, Markevo Baro Echelo, Yahara Vayam, Lamivcha Shalishab, Tubelu Ve'ahavsu, Tichomod Yechachim, Yardalim Salahad Gemohavet, Yemincha Adonai, Nedarim HaKoach, Yemincha Adonai, Kira Nayim lach le'olam va'ed, Nayim lach le'olam va'ed, Kilanai hamluch mashavoyim v'lo mishvar s'nishvar. V'yana le'melech ha'kol ha'aretz, V'yamahu Adonai echad, Shemo echad. Please be seated. We continue on page 104. Nishma kol chai, Dvarech et Shemach Adonai Eloheinu, Baruch v'asaratu. Join me in the middle of page 104. Song fill our mouth as water fills the sea, and good joy flood our tongue like countless waves.
Could our lips utter praise as limitless as the sky, and could our eyes match the splendor of the sun?
Could we soar with arms like an eagle's wings, and run with gentle grace as the swiftest deer?
Never could we fully state our gratitude for 1/10,000th of the lasting love that is your precious being, dearest God, granted to our ancestors and to us.
We continue on the bottom of the first paragraph of page 105. David Bachin Asher Adonai, V'chol Kravai Hashem Kodsho, Hail B'tatzim Oduzacha, Hakadob Yichvod Shemecha, Hakibor L'netzach, V'adar Rabban Orodecha, HaMelech HaYoshev, Hakizei Rav V'Nisa. Continue now in the middle of page 105. Shochin ad marav v'gadosh shemo.
Shochin ad marav v'gadosh shemo.
V'chadu ranadu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'yesharim navatihila. V'yesharim didalahu, v'divri tzadikim didbara. V'yesharim tzadikim didrava.
V'makalot revod damcha b'Yisrael. Shekein chovat kol Yisrael revod nekalot la'ilahim.
V'hodol ala l'shabeach, v'felo me'im l'hadel, v'arech la'leu l'kalis, ha'kol divrei shiva v'nishbechot, David ben Ishai, Avdecha Meshichecha.
Those of you comfortable, please rise as we turn to page 106.
Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Makinu. Birachad v'adad me'atav yad olam, Baruch Adonai.
Baruch Shemo.
El Melech Adonai Yishbachad, El Ahodad Adonai Nivlach, Chavach El V'shiri Zimra Melech, El Amen.
Amen.
Yidgadav Yidgadav Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yomah Divrach Yehudi V'yamelech Malchuteh.
Bechayech
Bechayech Yomecha, Bechayech Obed Yisrael. Bagada, Bagada, Ubizman Gari Limrel.
Amen.
Yeshmei Rabba Mevorach, Liolam Lo Me'omaya, Yidbarach, vid bar, vid man vid nasi, vid adar, vid ale, vid alal, shemiri gudija.
Rehu.
Vid la mingo birlachada, vishirada.
Tush Bechata Menechem Adada Miran Yama. Amen. We are now called to worship with Baruch Hu, page 107. Baruch Adonai Amborach Leolam Vaed.
Please join me, Baruch
V'ata Adonai Elohim melech olam Yoseh or Vorei Choshech Oseh Shalom Urei et HaKol. You may be seated. Page 108.
El Adonai Kol Amasim Baruch Baruch Ve'vigon Neshama Gadol Ve'tuva Malei Olam Da'ad V'vana Sovevi Moto Pamigael Chayot HaKodesh V'nehet HaRechav Olam Megava V'chol U'vishor Livnei Chizo Chesed V'rachamim Livnei Kevodo Tovim Me'ora Jebara Eloheinu Yitzaram B'dah B'vina U'v'askel Koach Ugura Natan B'hem V'yahod Ma'oshim Gerev Tehivel Lev Ziv V'vikim Nogana Na'eziv Ha'vechal Tzemechim B'tzeitam B'zazim B'vom Osi B'yeim Ha'ritzon Konam Be'er B'chavo Nonim Lishmo Tzahal Laverina Lezecher Malchudo Kara L'Shemesh V'Yizrachor Ra'a V'Yidin Tzurot Havana Sheva Nonim Lo Kol Teva Marum Tiferet Ugedal Azrael V'Yomanim V'Chayot HaKodesh. Page 109. Let's continue on 110 in English, top paragraph together. Our rock, our redeemer, our sovereign, creator of holy beings, you shall be praised forever. You fashion angelic spirits to serve you beyond the heavens. They all wait your command. In chorus, they reverently chant words of the living God, the eternal sovereign. Adoring, beloved, and choice are they all, in awe of fulfilling their Creator's will. In purity and sanctity, they raise their voices in song and psalm, praising and extolling and exalting, declaring the power, holiness, and majesty. Et Shema El HaMelech HaGadol, HaGibor HaNorah HaKadosh. Bina Chad Huvach U'Zafar Rav Nimah Kadosh
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Zebaot, Melech Haaretz Kivodo, Vavani Mekol Baruch Adonai Menkomo, Lelech Baruch Moitenu. Zion Jair, Vinizgel Golan Meira Leora. Orchadash Zion Jair, Vinizgel Golan Meira Leora. Baruch Adonai
Yotzei HaMe'ara.
111. Adonai Eloheinu, Chem Lagedol Lavetera, Hamad Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Ba'avur Avoteinu, Shebatu Becha, Shebatu Becha, Avinu Malkeinu. Talmud Torah Techabi Ahava V'Chayeinu B'Torah Techa V'Chayeinu B'Mitzvotecha V'Yachei Levavinu V'Yachava U'Lira Et Shemecha V'Lo Nivosh Ve'olam Ba'en V'Lo We take our four tzitziot and wrap them around our finger in preparation for Shema, bringing us safely from the four corners of the earth. And in gathering our tzitziot, we gather ourselves from all four parts of our body, our limbs, our torso, our head, and our heart, and bring them together, ready to proclaim our unity with God. Shema.
Habacher B'Amo Yisrael B'Ava.
Amen. Page 112.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavtai Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'onecha v'hayihu advarim ha'ele asher anochi b'zamecha hayom ha'levavecha v'shinanta anecha v'bahar v'divnecha b'techa v'lechnecha b'derech v'shokmecha v'mekomecha v'shaktam v'hodayadecha v'yodadav v'minenecha v'chnedam amuzah b'techa v'bisharecha.
We continue silently to the middle of page 113. William. We're on page 114.
Emet, 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 Atahu Rishon. Emet, 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 Atahu Acharon. Ubi baladecha inadu melech, melech oel Moshiach. Ubi baladecha inadu melech, melech oel Moshiach. Tilo lelelyon, Baruch u'mevarach, Moshe b'nei Yisrael, Chanu shira b'simcha raba, v'arbu cholam. Mi chamocha b'elim Adonai, Mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, Na'ani lo oseh shira chadasha sheb'chugelim, Shimchas v'adayacham, Kacha kolam hadovim lichu v'yamrel, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Please rise, Israel. Kuma be'Israel. V'dei kemecha Yehuda be'Israel. Go aleinu Adonai tzva'ot shemo. Kedosh Israel.
Baruch Adonai
Shmo.
Yisrael.
Silent Amidah, page 115. Don't forget to skip Kedusha this time. We'll come back to it. Those of you still davening Amidah, please continue to do so. We now return to page 115 as Zev leads us in the reader's repetition.
Baruch atah
Adonai,
Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Hayel HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Kamel Chazadim Tovim, V'ganei HaKohov, V'dacher Chasdei Avot, V'mevi Goel Livnei Bneihem, V'mahan Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozu Moshel U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham,
Amen.
Hadagi Bar Leolam Adonai, Mechemetim Ada, Rav Loshia, Morid Hadar, Mecha, Kel Chayim, Bechesed, Bechayim Edim, V'Rachamim Rabim, Zamech Navlim, V'Ravech Olim, U'Madir Asherim, U'Mekayim Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mikamo Kabal Gevurot, U'Mido Melach, Melech Memid, U'Mekayim, U'Matziach Yeshua, V'Nemanat Alachayot Medim, Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch V'Shemo.
V'chai Hamidi.
Amen. Those of you comfortable rising, we're at page 116, Kedusha.
Nikadesh et Shimcha
Ba'olam,
ba'olam,
Kishem Magdishim Adom Esmei Maram,
Kakadu v'yad v'yecha, v'karazel ze'ev Tzimot, Melech Haaretz Kivodo. Az Bikar Ashgadol, Adir B'chazak B'az B'hivkol, Midna Hasim L'ilma Tzirafim, L'ilma Dam Baruch Yomehiru,
Baruch Kibod Adonai B'mkom Kamudim.
Kom Chamakinu Tovia, Timach Aleinu Ekmechakim Anachnu Lach, Hadaitim Lach B'Tzion, Begarol B'Yameinu L'Lav Tishkon, Tid Gadal V'Tid Gadash, Bedoch Yerushalayim Erlecha, L'dor V'dor, L'netzach Netzachim, Ve'einu Tirena, Tirena Malchutecha, Kajabar Hamar, B'shirei Ozecha, Ve'einu Tirena, Tirena Malchutecha, Kajabar Hamar, B'shirei Ozecha,
Ayadei,
David,
David,
Ayadei,
David,
Ayadei,
Ayadei,
David,
David,
Meshiach Tzidkecha, Ayadei,
Ayadei,
David,
David,
Ayadei,
Ayadei,
David,
David,
Ayadei,
Ayadei,
David,
David,
Meshiach Tzidkecha,
Yimlo Adonai Elam, Eloi Tzon, L'dor V'dor, Hallelujah.
Idon Vador Nagid Galecha, L'netzach Netzachim Shadachai Nagdish, Shivchacha Ohed Mipina B'Solam Ba'ed, Ki Amelch Gadol HaKadosh, Ata, Barach, Ata Adonai,
Shemo.
Ha'el HaKadosh.
Amen. You may be seated.
Yismach Moshe b'matnat v'hagagi evet ne'emat kaharatalo kelil tiferet bero shonatata b'yamda lefanech al har Sinai u'shnei lachat avarim horid b'yado v'chatuf b'hem shemirat Shabbat v'chatuf b'hem Shemirat Shabbat, v'chatuv b'hem. Shemirat Shabbat, v'chikatuv b'toratecha. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat, v'davadam b'rit olam. Beini uvein Bnei Yisrael, Oti le'olam. Bnei uvein Bnei Yisrael, Oti le'olam. Ki sheshed yamim, Asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim, v'et ha'aretz. V'bayom hashvi'i, Shabbat v'yin avash.
V'bayom hashvi'i,
Shabbat v'yin avash. V'lo nidada, Adonai Eloheinu, 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 Chaldama, Knodei v'Zilim, V'gamnu Chadol, Eshkinu Arelim, Ki Yisrael, Al Chahadedado B'Yahava, L'Zer Yaakov, Asher B'Bacharta, Ha'mei Gadol Yeshivi, Kolamis bivirago betuvecha. Vajrati tabo vikidashto. Chebla diabi mahadagarata. Zecher maseh bereshi. Eloheinu, Elohei avotinu. Receive nachadenu. Kadesheinu b'mitzvotecha. V'nilchagenu b'toratecha. Sabeinu b'tuvecha. V'samcheinu b'shuvatecha. V'daher libeinu L'avdecha be'emet. V'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu. V'yachava u'v'ratzah. Shabbat kodechecha. V'yanuchu v'Yisrael. Mikadeshe Shemecha. Baruch atah Adonai. Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Page 118, Ritzei.
Ritzei. Adonai Eloheinu b'Amcha Yisrael. B'nevei Adam v'Adem.
Ve'aven.
V'nochov Dalit v'betecha.
Ritzei.
Adonai Eloheinu b'Amcha Yisrael. B'nevei Adam v'Adem.
Ve'ashem.
V'nochov Dalit v'betecha. U'tefilata. B'yava b'yava deka b'beratzon. D'iliratzon David avodat Yisrael Amecha. U'tefilata. B'yava b'yava deka b'beratzon. D'iliratzon David avodat Yisrael Amecha. Ritzei. V'techezena einenu. V'shivchas yom rachamim. Baruch atah Adonai.
Vishmo.
Hamachas shechinato l'tziyacha.
Amen. Modina Nagula. V'yochel ha'oda'ot.
Atav gilach rachamecha. V'mirachim gilad avachasadecha. Melam givinu lach. V'yachol amid brach b'irmam shimcha magnat amid leolam ba'ed. V'chol chaim yadu v'chasela. V'yalad shimcha b'emet. El shoten v'zvatinu zela. Baruch atah Adonai.
V'rishamaho.
Atah shimcha v'chalel lehodo.
Amen.
Eloheinu v'Elokei Avoteinu. Barucheinu b'bracha. HaMishulech v'Torah. Haktuv al yedei Moshe avdecha. Ha'amura mipi Aaronu v'anav. Kohanim amroshecha gamor. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Keini Ratzon.
Yair Adonai banav elecha v'chunecha.
Keini Ratzon.
Yisa Adonai banav elecha v'yaseh lecha shalom.
Keini Ratzon. 120.
Sim shalom, tova
Uvracha,
u'racha, olam
Ein
v'chesed
v'rachamim
v'rachamim aleinu, v'yachol Yisrael, v'yachol Yisrael, amecha, v'cheinu avinu k'lan hagecha, b'arbanecha, ki b'arbanecha nada lanu, Adonai Eloheinu,
Sim shalom,
Shalom, Tova u'bracha, olam chen, v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, v'yachol Yisrael, v'yachol Yisrael, amecha, chesed, v'tzedakah v'rachamim, v'chayim v'shalom,
Sim shalom, sim shalom.
Tova uvracha ba'olam
Chaim
chen,
v'chesed
v'rachamim
v'rachamim
aleinu,
Yisrael,
v'yalko Yisrael, v'yalko Yisrael, Amechad, v'dam v'necha livarech, v'namcha Yisrael, v'chol ein, v'chol shah, b'shlomecha,
Sim shalom, sim shalom.
Tova uvracha ba'olam chen, v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, v'yalko Yisrael, v'yalko Yisrael, Amen. Baruch Adonai.
Everybody Shemo.
Hamivarech Adamo Yisrael, B'Shalom.
Amen. Page 138, Kaddish Shalem.
Yigdav Yigdav Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
V'Almadi Baruch Hu Devam Michbach V'Tibachai Chod V'Mechon V'Chayel Chabed Yisrael, B'Agalav Yisman Karev V'Yimrel.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach. Le'olam Olam Ve'amaya. Yibarach.
Yipavish Tabach, Yipavish Laminase, V'Ravi David Al Shemei Degodasham.
Brechu. Amen. 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 You may be seated. You know, there's always a question as to whether you should be enjoying yourself during the Amidah and during the repetition. After all, you're talking with God. You're having this conversation. And here we are playing with melodies and rhythms and harmonies. Is it appropriate? Definitely. Thank you very much. Okay, I don't have to give the drash. You've already answered it. Works for me. So let's try something else. You all have handouts. And it is the Big Ten, the 10 statements. Okay? We first heard them in Shemot. Now this parsha, we're getting them repeated in Devarim. So question number one, which one's longer? Shemot or Devarim? It's actually very obvious because one has space and the other one doesn't. Devarim is longer. Okay? Moshe is adding to what God has said. And Moshe is also changing some of the words. I'd like to take one example out of the 10. The commandment of Shabbat. After all, we're observing Shabbat. It's a good one to use. If any of you remember L'chadodi, and if you don't, it's on page 21 in your Siddur. The first verse says what? Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Okay. How could both Shamor and Zachor be within one statement? One's back in Shemot, one's in Devarim. They're both referring to Shabbat. Okay? In Shemot, God says, I want you to remember Shabbat. In Dvarim, Moshe says, I want you to observe, keep, guard, whatever you want that Shamor to mean. But Moses is ramping it up. Think about it. When we are in Shemot, we are a people that are recently slaves. We're following a leader. We're following a cloud. We're following smoke. We're at Har Sinai, and we have no idea what's going on. We've never heard of Shabbat. And God is saying, listen, let's keep it simple, guys. You really don't know what I'm talking about yet. Remember, there's a Shabbat. You're going to have plenty of time to learn about it, but I want you at this point in your development, remember Shabbat, to keep it holy. If you don't remember it, it cannot be kept holy. Your participation is getting that holiness together. However, when we get to Devarim, it changes. Moshe says, observe Shabbat. You've had 39 years to remember Shabbat, folks. Once a week, you've been gathering manna on Friday, so you don't have to gather on Saturday. You've already learned. Now it's time to ramp it up. Now observe. Think about what it means. Think about what it means not to work. Think about you, your family, the servants within your gates, your animals, all of this. What is it trying to tell you? We've learned how to become a people. Now learn what it is to observe Shabbat as a people. Now let's look at God. How do we view God in Shemot? Look at that passage again. And what is the image of God we are getting? Why are we observing Shabbat? What is God telling us in that passage? No, I'm talking about Shabbat in Shemot, on the right-hand side. God of creation. Emulate God. God created the world. God created the week. God created Shabbat. Okay? You're right. In Moshe's version, the image of God changes. Now we have been freed for 39 years, and this is the image that is going to carry all the way through Devarim and into Nevi'im and so on. We are going to be learning and hearing all the time. This is a God that freed you from Egypt. So now what is going on? What is happening to the covenant that we have with God? God is saying, and Moshe is saying, God has been doing God's part of this covenant for 39 years. God's going to continue to do it. It's time for you to do your part. The moral and ethical caring about servants and slaves are also stated in Moshe's statement. We have to do these things because we were slaves and we know what it was like to be. Now we are free. And Moshe is helping define that concept of freedom by saying, it's not doing whatever you want, it's doing what you have to do as a responsible individual within the community. So Moshe changes the words in our commandments that are given to us by God. Not the first part. If you notice, up until Shabbat, you don't see difference. Those are traditionally the ones between us and God. It's the actions of what we do within a community, the commandments that teach us how to get along with each other. This is where Moshe fleshes it out, changes the words, and tells us how to act. Another thing that Moshe says, that your God has commanded you. Constantly says, your God has commanded you. On one level, he's saying, don't blame me. I'm not commanding you. God did. Okay? But Moshe is also saying, you've got to develop a relationship with this God. The God who's commanding you, there's a reason why. What's going on here? Who is God? God who freed you out of slavery? Yes, you have that covenant, but get to know and understand who God is. You can understand and have a relationship with God. In Exodus, in Shemot, we received the covenant. In Devarim, Moshe is reminding the Israelites standing there at that time, the covenant still exists. You've got to do your part, and you are a community now. You have to learn how. Develop a feeling of obligation, and you'll do okay. So the final question I leave for you to answer yourselves. The commandments still apply today. Do you feel the obligation? Shabbat Shalom. So now we turn to page 138. I'm sorry, 140, 39. Yeah, well, I'm page challenged. I've already told you that. 139, Torah service, that I know.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai v'in k'ma'asecha malechudecha
Malchut
kol olamim l'memshadecha b'chol hadar
Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imlok leolam, Adonai yosei amoyiten, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. Amar Rakamim, Eitiv amirtzoncha, et Zion, Ibnei Chomot Yerushalayim, Ibnei Chomot Yerushalayim, Ibnei Chamamad Ma'atagnu, Melech Aram Melisa, Adonai. Those of you comfortable rising as the Aron Kodesh is opened.
Sanctuary. Bless us with your light, and with compassion accept our prayer. May it be your will to grant us long life and well-being, to count us among the righteous, and to guard us, our families, and all your people Israel with compassion. You nourish and sustain all life. You rule over all, even kings, for dominion is yours. We are the servants of the Holy One, whom we revere, and whose Torah we revere at all times. Not on mortals do we rely, or upon angels do we depend, but on the God of the universe, the God of truth, whose Torah is truth, whose prophets are truth, and who abounds in deeds of goodness and truth. In God do we put our trust. Under God's holy, precious being do we utter praise. Open our hearts to your Torah, answer our prayers, and the prayers of all your people Israel, for goodness, for life, and for peace. Amen. God
Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu Be'ijakavu Be'ijakavu Hadrak Ladon Gadoshu Ramamu Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu Be'ijakavu Be'ijakavu Hadrak Ladon Adonai Eloheinu. Okay, so he is starting on You may be seated. Okay, so I just found out I gave the wrong drush.
No, you did.
We're not reading. And I wore the wrong tie, too. Oh, man, I'm just taking it off then. Forget it. That's it. That's it, you know. He changes on me. I don't have a tie that has the Shema, though. I'm sorry. We're actually,
When it comes to Vet Chanan, we have a lot of choices. At least
Yeah.
I do as a Torah reader. Because it has the Shema, the Hafta, and it has the Aseret HaDibrot. But it's also written down in triennial cycle. So usually, what I like to do is kind of follow a strict triennial. So they give us options. So this option that we're going to read today begins with the Shema and the Hafta and takes it to the conclusion of the Sedra. The Aseret HaDibrot are in a section before. So as you read the triennial, you're always going to hear the Aseret HaDibrot. Usually you're going to hear them at Yitro, you're going to hear them at Shavuot, and sometimes you hear them on Vet Chanan. Last year I think we did read them, but this year, we didn't read the Shema. But this year we're going to read the Shema, and maybe I tacked on the Shema because it's the Shema. Do I have any volunteers for the first Aliyah, Shema and Hafta? I'm wide open.
yeah, I got to do that one.
But anyway, but this year, the Drash holds up like it always has, but this year we're going to start with the Shema and the Hafta, okay?
Okay, so this is a story. Stop and think about where the Shema is. We always say Shema as a personal union with God, a personal relationship. What's going on here is Moses standing at Mount Nebo going, "Listen up, people Israel. The Lord our God, the Lord is one, that one." This is still holding up with what I was talking about earlier, in that after 39 years, we've been following a cloud, we've been following smoke, but have we been following God? Have we started to understand who God is? Moses' entire book, the book of Deuteronomy, is trying to get the people to understand that God is there for the people, and that they've got to be there for God, but only if they can develop that relationship. So we now start on page 124, verse 6.
1024.
What did I say? 1024. Page number challenge.
Yamud Elad Michael Ben Miracle Berivka Kohen Ruch Nadan Talmasel Ruch Nadan Taral Rosal Gustado Barakim Barakim Lachem Chaim Golchem
Hayom. We're on verse 4. At this point, I hope so. Baruch Lam Baruch Milam Bed.
אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavcha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinatam levanecha, v'dibarta bam. V'shivtecha b'beitecha, v'lechtecha b'derech, v'shochmecha u'v'kumecha. Gushartam lo dal yadecha, v'yelotodavod b'beinecha. V'chedavdam amzuzahod beitecha, v'visharecha.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
That was excellent. Any volunteers for the next Aliyah? Yamod Levi, Yamod Moshe, Simcha, Ben Yaakov Levi, Gittel, Levi.
We're on page 1027, verse 10.
Baruch et Adonai Haborah.
Baruch
Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. V'yahagiviyacha, Adonai Elohecha, El haaretz, Asher nishbaha lavotecha le'Avraham, li'Yitzchak, li'Yaakov, Latit lecha, Latit lach, Arim g'dolot v'tovot, Asher lo vanita, Uvatim meleim kol tov, Asher lo mileta, Uvarot chatzuvim, Asher lo chatzavta, Krami b'zeitim, Asher lo natata, Ve'achalta b'savata, Yishamer lecha, pen tishkach et Adonai, Asher tziacha meretz Mitzrayim beit avadim, et Adonai Elohecha tziravoto ta'avod, v'yishmo tishavea, lo telchu nacharei Elohim achirim, Elohei ha'amim, Asher tzivotechem, ki elkana Adonai Elohecha b'kirbecha, pen yechereh, Adonai Elohecha bach, v'yishmi'idcha me'al pnei ha'adama, lo tenasu et Adonai Elohechem, Kasher nisitem b'masa, shamor tishmeru, et mitzvot Adonai Elohechem, v'edotav v'chukav asher tzivach, v'asita yashar v'hatov b'nei Adonai, l'man yitahav lach, uva'ata, v'yarashta et haaretz hatava, asher nishpa Adonai lavotecha, ladof et kol oivecha mipanecha, kasher diber Adonai.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet, V'chaye Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yamod Shlishi, Yamod Yehuda Gabriel, Ben Ruvain Shlishi.
We're on page 1028, verse 20.
Baruch Rabbi Elam Vayah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki yishalchavin chahamachar lemor maha. Haydud v'achukim b'mishpatim. Asher tziva Adonai Eloheinu etchem. V'amata levanecha levincha vadim hayinu lefaro b'mitzrayim. V'yotzeinu Adonai b'mitzrayim b'yad chazaka. V'yitin Adonai otodud mavtihim gedolim. V'rayim b'mitzrayim b'varo v'chol v'etav leineinu.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת
Amen. Tamod v'e. Simaliba bat. Tamos simaliba bat berleb. Verivka. V'e.
Sorry.
I'm just saying it's a short of
Just 2 lines.
Yeah, right here.
Baruch hu el Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch
Baruch
Adonai HaBarak le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Votanu hotzi misham leman. Havi otanu lati lanu. Et haaretz asher nishbal avotenu. Vitzavenu Adonai. Lasod et kol chokim ha'ele lira et Adonai Eloheinu. V'tov lanu kol hayamim. V'chayotenu kayom hazeh. U'tzedakat yelanu. Ki nishmor la'asot. Et kol mitzvah hazot livnei. Adonai Eloheinu, kasher tzivanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Tamod Chamishi, Tamod Ari ben Moshe. Vizelda. Chamishi.
We're on page 1029 at the beginning of chapter 7.
Baruch hu Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch Adonai Barak le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Kiviach Adonai Elohecha el haaretz asher ata v'shama l'rishta v'nashal goyim rabim mipanecha hachiti v'gagashya emori v'knani v'prizi v'achkivi v'ayevusi shivat yamim shivat goyim rabim v'atzumim mimcha mimeka netaraham Adonai Elohecha lifanecha v'kitam Echarim tacharim otam lo tichol lahem berit v'lo techonim v'lo tidchatin bam bidcha lo titen livno v'ito lo tikach livnecha ki asir et bidcha mi'acharai v'avado Elohim acherim v'chara'av Adonai bachem v'shmircha maher kim kodastu lahem Mizbechotechem, Tidotsu matzivotem, Tishabiru, Vashrehem, Tigadeun, Vasilehem, Kisrefun Maesh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Tamod Shvi'i. Shishi, Tamod Miriam Yochevet, Bat Yosef Yona. Shishi.
And we're on page 1030, verse 6. And I'm sorry I pounded to quiet you down. There are two reasons. One, we're supposed to hear the voice and everything that's being read by the Torah. The other is, sometimes it's very difficult to read passages when there's so much noise going on. It's hard to remember what you're trying to say.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Nishmo.
noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki am kadosh ata l'Adonai Elohecha becha Bachar Adonai Elohecha Le'olam Sugala Mikol Hamim Asher Pnei Adama Laho Merubchem Mikol Hamim Chashak Adonai Bachem Vayivchar Bachem Ki Atem Hamid Mikol Hamim Ki Mehavta Adonai Erch Mehavat what? Mehavat Adonai Erchem Misham Ravadash Vuah Asher Nishbal Avotechem Hotzir Erchem Biad Chazaka Vivtecha Mi Beit Avadim Miad Paro Melech Mitzrayim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yamot Shvi, Yamot Dov Ben Yehuda Shvi. Right here, Leodata. I'll show you.
We're on page 1031, verse 9, and you're going to hear it twice. Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Ba'ed. Amen.
V'amen v'yahadata ki Adonai Elohecha hu Elohim el ha'ne'eman shomer harbid v'chesed lo avav lo sharmei mitzvotav le'eleftor mishalem l'sonav el panav l'havido lo yacher l'sono el panav yishalem lo v'shamarte et ha'mitzvah v'lachukim et ha'mishpatim asher anochi mitzavcha hayom la'asotam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayilon natatu b'cheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We now recite a special blessing of Mishal Berach for those ill in our community in the need of God's blessing of healing. May the source of strength, who bless the lives before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor haverach rabotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Amen. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedecha ben Yisrael B'agala uvizman karim Amen. Yeshmei Rabba mevorach Yolamo me'omaya Yitbarach v'ishtaba V'itbar v'yitama v'naseh v'idadar v'idaleh Shebei l'kudeshah Le'ila mingo birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran b'yama v'imrel Amen. Yamod maftir, Yamod nachum, Ben Eliezer Esther Mavdir Chazak.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamparach.
Baruch Naim Baruch Amen.
Baruch Adonai hamparach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
V'shmo.
HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'yadata ki Adonai Elohecha hu Elohim. Ha'el ha'ne'eman shomer. Harbid v'chesed. Li'ohavav v'lo shomrei mitzvotav le'eleftor. Mishalem l'sonav. El panav la'avido. Lo yacher l'sono. El panav yishalem lo. V'shamart et ha'mitzvah. V'nachukim et ha'mishpatim. Asher anochi. Mitzavcha hayom la'asotam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai
V'shmo.
Eloheinu HaTorah.
Amen. Those of you comfortable rising, please do for the lifting and dressing of the Sefer Torah. Yot HaTorah asher sa Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biad Moshe. You may be seated. So our Haftarah is found on page 1033. And by the way, this is telling us that Rosh Hashanah is only 7 weeks away. There are 7 Haftarot of consolation. This is the first one. And you know that because it says, Nachamu, Nachamu, be comforted, be comforted. It's called Shalom. This is called the Haftarah Nachamu, and I think it's appropriate that Nachum should be reading the Haftarah. And as I understand, he's been kind of a comfort to the congregation all along, to a certain extent. You have been a comfort to this group.
Oh. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratzav v'divrei nemarim bemet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael hamo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Nachamu, Nachamu ami, Yomar Elohechem, Dabru, Alev, Yerushalayim v'kiru eleha, ki molat tzva'ah, ki nirtzach o avona, ki lakha b'yad Adonai, v'flayim b'chol chatoteha, kol korei, Bamidbar panu derech Adonai, Yashru ba'arava mitzila le'Eloheinu, kol gei yinaseh b'chol har v'giva yishpalu, v'haya he'akov le'mishor, v'har chasim le'vika, v'nigla kevod Adonai, v'ra'u kol basar yachtav, Ki pi Adonai diber, kol omer karav yamar ma'ekra, kol abasar chatzir v'chol chasto ketzitz hasader, yavesh chatzir navel tzitz, ki ruach Adonai nashva bo, achein chatzir ha'am, Yavesh Chatzir, Navel Tzitz, Udavar Eloheinu Yakum Leolam. Al Har Gavoa, Alilach Mivatzeret Zion, Harimi Vakoach Kolech, Mivatzeret Yerushalayim, Harimi Al Tirai, Imri Le'arei Yehuda, Ine Elohechem, Ine Adonai Elohim Bechazak Yavo, Uzro Moshla, Lo Hine Scharo Ito, Ufulato Lefanav, Kiro Edro Yireh Bizroa, Yikabeit Slaim, Uvecheko Yisa Alot Inahel. Mi Madad Bishalo Mayim, Bishamayim Bezeret Tikain, Bechol Bishalish Afar Haaretz, Bishakal Bapeles Harim Ugvaot Bimoznayim. Mi Tikain Ed Ruach Adonai Veish Atzato Yodienu, Ed Mi Noatz Vaivanehu, Velelamdehu, Beorach Mishpat, Bilamdehu Da'at, Bederech Tvunot Yodienu, Ein Goyim Kamar Midli, Uchashachak Moznaim Nechshavu, Ein Niyim Kadak Yitol, Ulvanon Ein Dei Ba'er, Bechayato ein dei olav, kol hagoyim ke'ayin negdo, me'efes vatohu nechshavu lo, v'yalmi tidamyu neo, umademu ta'archu lo, hapesel natzach harash, v'tzoref bezahav yirakenu, Urtukot kesef tzorev, hamisukan truma, eitz lo yerkav yivchar, charash chacham yivakesh lo, lachin peso lo yimot, halo tedu halo tishma'u, halo hugad merosh lachem, halo Havi notem mosto ta'aretz, hayoshevachu ka'aretz, vayoshveha kachagi chavim, anotecha dok shamayim, vayimtachem ka'ohel lashavet, hanotein roznim la'ayin, shoftei eretz katohu asab, Af bal nita'u, af bal zora'o, af bal shoresh ba'aretz gizam, v'gam nasha bahem v'yivashu, utzara kakash tisa'im. V'yami tidamyuni, v'eshve yomar kadosh, Marom enechem uru mivara ele hamotzi v'mitzpar tzva'am lechulam b'shem yikra merov onim v'yamitz koach ish lo nedar. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Tzur Kol Olamim Tzadik Bechol Adorot El HaNeman HaOmer V'Yoseh Amdeber U'Mkayim Shekol Dvarav Emet V'Tzedek Neman Atahu Adonai Eloheinu V'Nemanim Dvarecha V'Davar Echad Midvarecha Achor Lo Yashuv Reikam Yel Melech Neman V'Rachaman Ata Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaNeman B'chol Dvarav Rachem al Tzion, ki beit chayenu, v'lalu vat nefesh toshia, b'mehera v'yameinu, baruch ata Adonai, mesameh Tzion v'baneha. Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu, b'Eliyahu hanavi avdecha, uv'malchut beit David meshichecha, b'mehera yavo v'yakel libeinu, al kiso lo yeshev zar, v'lo yenchalu od acherim et kvodo, ki v'shem kadshecha nishbata lo, shelo yechbed nerot leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai, Magen David. Ala Torah, v'al havodah, v'al hanviim, v'al yom haShabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'ktushav limnucha, lechavod u'tifaret. Ala kol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, u'mvorchim otach, Yitbarach Shemecha, Befi Kochai Tamid Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
So it's now time to move back to our Siddurim. I invite you to turn to page 148. 148. As we start with our prayer for our country, the last paragraph. May this land, under your providence, be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all peace and freedom, helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen. We turn to page 149, our prayer for the state of Israel. Avinu Shabbat Shemayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Goalo, Barech et Minat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Gulatenu. Hagen aleha bevrat chastecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha. Ujlak horcha b'yamka l'roshra, sareha b'yotzeha, v'taknem b'etzah tova mefanecha, chazek yed yidei mignei eretz kodshenu, b'yankilem Eloheinu Yeshua, v'ateret nitzachon atatrem, v'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam b'yoshveha v'nomar Amen. And now we turn to page 151 as Rabbi leads us in Ashrei.
Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha, Odecha Leluchasela.
Ashrei Yam Shekakalo, Ashrei Yam Shelonai.
Tila LeDavid Armim Kalo Kakamel Avrecha Shimka Leolam Vaed.
Yikol Yom Bechon Avrecha Shemilim Kalayel Amaed.
Gadol Adonai Mekula Mel Velidulato Echeker.
Dor le dor yes mama seka guru ateka yagidu.
Hadar Kefo Kodeka Vidifrei Nifloteka Sika.
Besu teka muru yakasakena.
Zekeraf tu Kaya Biu Visikadeka Iranenu.
Kanun mirachu mahadonai erek habayim du chased.
Tovalonai Lako Veraka Mavoko Masaf.
Udu kadonai komaseka mahati kekaruka.
Kevo Mohu Takayo Meru Ukifura Takayeta Beru.
Lodia ne adam rutab lukvora darmal kuto.
Mahu Taka Mahu Ko Olamim Umem Shaftaka Bekol Dor Fador.
Somek Adonai lekol hanoflim bezol kev lekol hakuvim.
Ene Kohen Lekayasa Beru. Ve'ata notein lahem eroklam beito.
Pote yad yadecha umasbiach lo chayratzon.
Tzadik Adonai Bekol Tifrakav. Ve'kasi Bekol Ma'asav.
Kerov Adonai lekol korav lekol asher kirahu be'emet.
Ritzon Yiriav Yaseh. Ve'eshata Mishma Yoshiem.
Shemer Adonai kol olam v'korashim yashmi.
Tila Adonai Yedaber Pi. Vivarek Kol Basar Shem Kochol Elam Va'ed.
V'anachnu nevarech lam
Mizmor Letahavi Havul Adonai B'nei
Havul Adonai gavodos. Havul Adonai gavodos shemo. Yishak Havul Adonai v'hadrat kodesh.
Kol Adonai El Hamayim Hakavod Hirim Adonai El My Rabim.
Kol Adonai ba'koach. Kol Adonai mehadar. Kol Adonai tover arazim. Aishar ber Adonai edar zehavanon.
Dayar Kidek Kamo Egelevanon V'Sirion Kimo Ben Remim.
Kol Adonai Moted Yamodesh. Kol Adonai Yaakov Midbar.
Dayachasaf Yarot V'Chek Olo Kulo Mekhavod.
Shalom.
We're now at Chatzi Kaddish on page 155. We will continue with the Hecha Kedusha Musaf service.
birachama, birachama. Sheni, 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 le'nei Elohai, li'olachem le'Elohim.
Ani Adonai Elohim.
V'divri kodecha katuv le'mor,
Yimlo Adonai Olam Elohai Tzyon,
le'dor hallelujah. Le'dor v'dor nagiga le'echa, v'nitzal nitzal kivlushadecha nagdish, shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamos le'olam va'ed, ki el melech gadol v'kadosh, ata baruch, ata Adonai.
Shemahu.
Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please continue until page 161. Don't forget to include your personal prayers. Those of you still davening Amidah, please continue to do so and then catch up with us where we are. We're currently on page 181, Kaddish Shalem. Amen. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach. V'olam Me'amaya Yidbarach. Brechu. Amen. Amen. You may be seated temporarily. Page 182, Ein Keloheinu.
Eloheinu, Ein Adonenu, Ein Gemalkeinu, Ein Gemoshienu, Mich Eloheinu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Gemalkeinu, Mich Gemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shekirah, Avodeinu, Levanecha Ekdoret Asham.
Those of you comfortable rising, please do so. Page 183, Aleinu. We now turn to page 184, Mourner's Kaddish. This week, we join the Laserson family in the mourning the passing of Jack. His funeral was Friday, and as the family is in Shiva, we wish them our condolences and our support. This week's yard sites are Emmanuel Sokolov, Clara Riesenfeld, Philip Stein, J. Robert Wasserman, Abraham Isaac Zeigelbaum, Rachel Kersen, Sadie Liss, Joseph Moskov, Paul Joseph Moskowitz, Howard Stephen Sekoff, David Scheinman, Albert Siegel, Barbara Wasserman, Samuel Klein, Terry Gord Semenko, Abraham Solomon, Ayla Gerhardt, Tommy Moskowitz, Joseph Remes, Gertrude Slanger, Shirley Berkowitz, Betty Nathan, Ruth Young, Sylvia Leiner, Francis Weinstein, Anna Sarah Zweiback, Goldie Zweiback, and Nehemja Zweiback. Are there any other names that should be mentioned at this time? I ask that we also think of those who died in the Shoah, those who died as a result of terrorist attacks, those who have no one left to say mourning for them. And with all that's been happening in New Mexico, I ask that we also think of our religious cousins who have been suffering from being targeted, and offer our condolences and support to them as well. Mourners Kaddish, page 184. Yid Kadal v'Yid Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'Amad Divrah Hirutei v'Amlich Malkutei B'Chaye Chon of Yamei Chon Uv'Chaye Dekal Beit Yisrael Ba'Galav V'Zman Karib Yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mebarak Le'alam Omei Amaya Yid Barak V'Yish Tabak V'Yid Pa'ar V'Yid Tromam V'Yid Naseh V'Yid Tadar V'Yid Taleh V'Yid Talal Shmei D'Kudashah Brechu Le'ela Min Kol Berchata V'Shirata Tushfikata V'Nekhamata Damiran B'Yoma V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Yal Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mermav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Yal Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. I invite the rest of you to rise if you're comfortable doing so as Zev leads us in Kiddush and Challah.
V'shabiru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asad et ha-Shabbat, l'dorot amrid alav, be'egli u'vei b'nei Yisrael oti, ve'olam gishes et yamim, asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim et ha'aretz, u'vayam ha'shvi, Shabbat v'yi nafal, Ha'kim birach Adonai d'ma Shabbat v'yakadasheh, Tzavraim non rabotai.
L'chaim, Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei pri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher k'nishanu tzedakah v'tzivanu al netzilat yadayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
You may be seated as Lou comes forward with the announcements.
Sheet for me, by chance?
I do, right here.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Shabbat Shalom. Okay, so for the past few weeks, I've mentioned there's a list of things that you have to do that you should be doing for the high holidays. I'm not going to repeat that list. Please do all the stuff you have to do. And one of the things on there is to get your registrations in, pay your dues, join our affiliates, and pay your affiliate dues. So I hope everyone will do that. We have a bunch of upcoming events. You can still, by the way, get your Honey from the Heart fundraiser program. So look at the flyers for that. And it's past the time for the free shipping, but you're still interested, get that, go ahead and order that. It's very nice to do. Also, and be sure you check all the flyers and check the website. We have lots of stuff going on. And that includes the Men's Club Barbecue on August 28th. We have a special program. It'll be a taste of convention, and following that, we have a program titled Jews of Rock and Roll, headlined by our own Zev Brooks. And that's always a worthwhile program. It's $10 for guests. Members who pay up their dues, of course, will be in for free. We also, the Men's Club also is having a baseball outing, the Angel game on September 18th at 1 p.m. Contact me if you're interested in that. We have a limited number of tickets. Now, we've got tickets in really good locations, so, you know, if you're interested, please let me know.
I just want everyone to know, I'm going to that game, and I've only been to about 3 or 4 Angel games this year, but every time I go, they win, so.
Yeah, he's been a good luck charm.
So if they lose, it's not me, it's you, okay?
There you go. We have a very special Slichot service coming September 17th. We're joined by a special guest cantor, Sam Glazer, who is very well known for his music. He's been part of the fabric of Jewish life and communities worldwide. He's named one of the top 10 Jewish performers in the United States by Moment Magazine. So please join us for that. He's been all over the place, and it's always, of course, you know, we always have a great time at Slichot here. It's a terrific program. So be sure you check for everything else. Also, Thursday evenings every other week, we have the What's Up program that Ruth Wilkoff, boy, I didn't realize that was a tongue twister, that Ruth Wilkoff hosts for us, and it's a great program. We always have a lot of fun with that. We talk about a lot of current topics. So if you're interested, please join us on Zoom on Thursday nights. Again, check the flyers, check the website, and check your emails. And also, I see your hand, Rebecca. Yes, we are doing the shofar program. So if you want to learn to do the shofar for the high holidays, you want to be here on Tuesday evenings. And they're coming up here in August and in September. Check with Rebecca or Penelope. Yes, Ducky.
We are missing a Torah.
We're not missing a Torah. It's being scrutinized. So it's
Scrutinized?
I'll tell you about it later. But you don't have to worry about it. It's fine. It's safe. Yes. Ruth Wilkoff. Yes. Thank you, Ruth. Thursday. What's up, exactly. Okay, thank you. Good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Did I miss anything? Yes. Well, I missed something. What did I miss? No, I did, the sale.
Well, aside from the sale.
Okay, well, let me mention that first. Okay. September 11th, we're having a big sale of gift shop items, so please check with Jenny. Be here on the 11th. That's a Sunday. We're going to be having some really good items for sale. Go ahead.
In particular with Rosh Hashanah coming about the matzors that we have.
Ah.
And we're only charging $10, and I know everybody would like to have their own for the holidays.
Yeah, get your own holiday matzor. They're beautiful. They're wrapped nicely, and they're ready. Yes, Penelope.
The shofar class starts at 6 in the multipurpose room.
Okay.
Or I was told in here too.
Or in here. Come
Right.
in this area.
Well, if you come here, come to the multipurpose room, check in for the chauffeur. There you go.
Yeah.
You'll find it. We'll find you. Thank you.
All you have to do is listen, and you'll know where the shofar class is. Page 187, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam,
Hashem Malach b'terem kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yein Asa b'chesed kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yakarei Yiklo Dakol, Libado Yimlok Nora, V'hu Haya, V'hu Odeh, V'hu Yeh B'tivara, V'hu Yeh B'tivara, V'hu Echad, V'yein Sheni Leham Shilo, Leham Bira, B'lei Reshit, B'lei Tachlin, V'lo Ha'av, V'ha'am Yisra, V'lo Ha'av, V'ha'am Yisra, V'hu Eli, V'chai Gali, V'tzor Chevli, V'etzara, V'hu Nisi, U'magosli, Menad Gosi, B'yom Ekra, Menad Gosi, B'yom Ekra, B'yado, Agid Ruchli, B'yeshan, B'ya'ira, B'yim Ruchli, Yevi'ati, Adonai li, V'lo ira, Adonai li, V'lo ira. Shabbat Shalom.
Jerusalem, and saw the